Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Julie Mann. I am a professional network marketer. I'm an actor and I'm also an EFT practitioner. And today I'm joined by coach and cognitive hypnotherapist, Lohk. Hi Laura.
Hi, okay.
I'm good, so nice to see you.
And you?
Hey, listen, I know that you weren't born in the UK, so I'm just really curious. Can you tell us firstly where you're from and why you chose to live in the UK now?
Yeah, so I'm from a very small country in Europe called Estonia. The people who don't know where it is, it's just south from Finland. And yes, it's a very little country. It's only like 1.3 million people living in there. So most people haven't heard of it. Some people in America thought it was a sandwich. so so yeah, when I was 19, well, actually way before that, when I was sort of 16, because of my sort of background and everything that went kind of on at the time, I thought, I want to move, I want to start again, and kind of build a better life for myself. And I really wanted to move to America at the time. But the borders were closed because of 9/11, and I wanted to speak English. So I found an international sort of voluntary program. It was funded by European Union, and you kind of pick on the huge application. I mean, it takes like months to create this application and for it to go through. And I picked UK, and I ended up in Wales, in sort of far end of Rhondda Valleys. If anyone knows the valleys, it's kind of completely, I wanted to go to New York, and I ended up in sort of far end of Rhondda Valleys, which people find it quite hilarious. And then, I started working here. I then ended up going to uni in here. So it's kind of, my life kind of settled down in here. And obviously now I have a business. So yeah, I kind of, 15 years later, and I'm still here.
Wow. And you have got a slight Welsh accent, haven't you? I do love
Yeah, I used to be very, very Welshy. I think now, some people still think that, oh, it's that Welsh girl. And yeah, I think I'm losing it a bit, but yeah, I still have it a little bit.
I know that before you did what you do now, you were actually a solicitor, weren't you? Yeah.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
So, like again, it was sort of my background. I really, when I was in school, I was kind of known as the stupid kid. Like academically, I really wasn't gifted. Really took me a long time, to get anywhere academically. And I remember telling one of my friends in Estonia, my school friends, that I'm gonna become a solicitor. I'm gonna study law, and he literally burst out laughing. And I was sort of helping people, and I really enjoyed all the legal programs that I watched, and I wanted to do something that I really enjoyed, but also something that was the hardest thing that I could study in foreign language that at the time I didn't speak very well, that I could show those people that I can do it. So I couldn't go to university normally, sort of full time. I had to do it part time because I had to work at the same time. So I kind of found a university that I could study part time, and I was looking at the prospectus, kind of like, no, boring. Oh, law. Well, that's really difficult to learn, and that's probably really exciting, and I could help people. Hello, can I join your program? That's how I ended up studying it. And as it was, I really enjoyed it. It was really hard. I mean, the first year in uni, I literally, I sat there with a dictionary, and I had to, kind of understand what the specific words meant. It was so hard. But then I said got a job as a paralegal, and I was doing sort of the solicitor job way before I qualified. You know, I ended up being a manager and so forth. So overall, it took me 8 years to become a solicitor. And once I qualified, I kind of realized, I did it. I showed those people that I could absolutely do it. But I kind of did it for the wrong reasons. Whilst I enjoyed a lot of part of my legal work, it wasn't kind of what I wanted to do. So yeah, I went and retrained as a therapist and coach, and then kind of handed in my resignation and walked out and started a sort of new chapter of my life.
That's amazing. I mean, you must have felt very proud of yourself that you achieved that. It wasn't just about proving people wrong.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was a good feeling to kind of say, I am qualified now. I'm a solicitor. Ha! You know. And yes, I mean, it was so hard. It was literally 8 years I had pretty much no social life. You know, it was like Monday to Friday going to work, weekends studying, and obviously when I had to do my LPC, which is a legal practice course, I had to actually go to uni sort of almost on a weekend basis. So it was Monday to Friday work, Saturday, Sunday, uni, Monday to Friday work, kind of thing. So it was really, really hard. So yes, I was, but I kind of found myself not very fulfilled and not satisfied. And you know, a lot of people feel like that, and they kind of stay stuck in that because my parents want me to do this perfect job, and I should stay there. And I kind of took the scary road, which is really scary kind of thing to say, here's my resignation, and I kind of left like that. So yeah, but you know, I'm really glad I did it. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed parts of it. It's just kind of the end bit that I thought, I kind of feel like my path is something else now. I've grown out of it, kind of thing.
Can you remember the point at which you just knew that coaching was where you wanted to go?
I think it was very much because, you know, when I was almost qualified, I was a team leader, so I had a team, and sort of coaching and mentoring was very much part of what I was doing. Not, you know, no one told me officially this is what you have to do, but it kind of came about. And I think sort of, you know, even when I wasn't working as a team leader, when I was still, you know, volunteering and doing bits and bobs of other things, I kind of really what really gave me the energy and drive was the inspiring other people. So I think, you know, it was at some point, you know, as my job kind of, that I really like the sort of inspiring people and really kind of helping them to grow and sort of helping them on their path. It was around the sort of time then when I thought, oh, you know, there is something else in it, and I've really enjoyed helping people. So it was kind of, I suppose, natural path, and you know, sort of self-development that I was really into. Yeah, I think
Like you say, it's a very brave step, isn't it? It must have taken courage to go, okay, especially because you were used to that lifestyle, you're used to that income, to suddenly set up on your own. So what was that like for you, adjusting to this new career that you'd chosen?
Yeah, kind of. I think as I handed in my resignation, I felt probably the most confident I've ever felt. I remember walking out from my manager's office and feeling amazing. Literally, I could conquer the world at that moment. And then obviously setting everything up, and kind of I moved again. I moved from Manchester, where I was as a solicitor, and moved to south of England. And at the time I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And then that kind of the reality hit that, oh gosh, I'm completely on my own, I'm self-employed, I have no idea what I'm doing. And what kind of followed was a huge learning curve. And it is at that point that I've realized now that a lot of people give up because they are not, they think that the sort of growth goes like kind of from, that's where they are, and it just nicely goes up, and it really doesn't. It goes like that, you have a meltdown, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Then something happens and you're like, oh yes, I'm feeling a bit better now, and then something else happened. It kind of goes like that until it begins to kind of grow naturally. But yes, I mean, it was really scary, and the amount of sort of growth, personal growth, and sort of learning new things like marketing and social media and stuff like that has just been huge. I'm still, you forever learn, but it's just kind of looking back of where I was to where I am now in terms of my business and what I'm doing now and what I want to do. Is just completely different. So what what I've been taught and what I now teach my clients is kind of like, get as ready as you can be, launch, and then kind of start aiming. Most people kind of think that they have to be 100% ready, aim, and then launch, kind of fire. And it's it's not like that, because things change. I mean, lockdown happened, people who were kind of able to be flexible and adapt and pivot their business, I think they like skyrocketed. And people that were very sort of fixed in their ways, and they kind of decided, no, it's the worst thing that happened to my business. My business is over. Those were the people that I think really, or businesses even, that kind of struggled a bit. But you constantly pivot your business, move, oh, what's happening in here. You kind of constantly develop and like again, another tip that I've been taught is be like water. That you can kind of flow into these challenges that kind of happen, instead of kind of stay stuck in your ways. Because life changes so quickly, so that you kind of have to be kind of be like water.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about being perfect, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you are a very passionate vegan, Laura. So, how did that come about? What made you choose to be vegan and live a vegan lifestyle? And what would you say are the benefits of that?
So it's a quite a bit of a story, because whoever knows me, and whoever kind of hanged out with me at the time when I wasn't vegan, I ate meat every single day. Like, in fact, when there wasn't the meat on my plate, I kicked off. I thought, this is not even food. And but yet I went overnight vegan. And I've loved animals, since I was a kid. And animal welfare is a hugely important. And I remember coming home one day quite late. I had something to do at work, and I lived with my boyfriend at the time, and he was watching. Again, he was very passionate about animals, and he was watching one of the documentaries. And he kind of came to the hallway and didn't even say, hi babe, how are you, how was your day? He said, we are no longer eating meat. And I thought, great, let's do it. I've wanted to do this such a long time, let's do it. And I went literally overnight vegan. And after that I started learning more about what's actually going on around the world in terms of animal cruelty and sort of how everything works. And it horrified me. Like, I I just realized that we cannot carry on like that. And not only did I become vegan, but I literally threw out all of my skincare that was tested on animals. I stopped buying sort of leather goods. So I went quite, it was a kind of very drastic move, but I don't think that I'm missing out anything. I mean, it was about 3.5 years ago, I think I became vegan, and the the development in terms of what you have to eat and what options you now have is just huge. I mean, it's I don't feel like I'm missing out from anything, and lots of people think that, oh, you're vegan, you just must eat grass. I have some friends that constantly make fun of me that you're just eating grass, you'll be fine, and we don't. There's just so many options available now.
Yeah, it's not grass, and it's not chips either. You don't have to live
Yeah,
on.
it's not just chips and salad. So yes, I mean, it's hugely important to me, and animal welfare is very, very important to me. So sort of initially I was reading all of my skincare, what is it tested on animals. If it was, absolutely not using it at all. So yeah, like morally I feel so much better. I feel I'm supporting quite a lot of charities as well, and it's just hugely important to me. And I used to really struggle with my stomach. So I'm very fortunate in a sense that I haven't struggled with weight ever, but I struggled with things like IBS, and I struggled with things just feeling when I was eating just like bloatiness, and all of I really sometimes struggled with my food. And I don't think I've had IBS symptoms for a long time. So yeah, I feel so much better.
And you look absolutely radiant, so clearly it's working, isn't it? I know that your work focuses on people's well-being. So how would you define well-being, and how important is it?
I think for me, well-being, for many years, I feel like what society was kind of focusing on was well-being in terms of physical well-being. So there was a lot of do this exercise and gym and so forth. But for me, well-being really is physical, sort of mental well-being, but also sort of spiritual well-being. And I think more and more in sort of media is covering that as well, is that mental well-being is so important. And a lot of most of the work that I actually do is around stress management and anxiety and statistics. I mean, obviously now after the coronavirus, the statistics has probably changed hugely, but in terms of stress, up to something between 73% and 93% of employees are struggling with stress, and billions of dollars are lost every year because people are taking the time off from work. And obviously that affects people's productivity and causes a lot of physical symptoms as well. And obviously that affects our national health system in terms of NHS, how much sort of weight that puts on. So it's hugely important, but I feel that people still don't take it seriously enough. I think people still feel like, especially mothers, oh, I have to do things for my kids, and I have to housework and ironing and cooking and cleaning, and the dog needs to go for a walk and so forth. And then when I say, okay, how do you look after yourself? They said, oh, I don't have time to look after myself, or that it's not important. It's almost like a luxury. They think that, that when I say look after yourself, that means just do your nails and you know, your hair, but it's obviously goes to so much, you know, there is so much more that we can do, and we really need to do something on a daily basis. And you know, looking after one's well-being is like brushing your teeth. It is a lifelong commitment, and a lot of people really abandon that, I find. So it is hugely important, I think, now more than ever.
So I know that you're really dealing with people who are suffering from stress and anxiety, but what, I'm going to say, what types of people do you see? Is it across the board? You know, what kind of presenting issues do they come to you with? Because they might not say, you know, I've got a problem with my well-being. What is it that they say?
Mainly anxiety, and depression. And what then follows. Yes, I see people across the board really, and now more I'm starting to work with actual employers and employees, because again I feel that there is not enough work done, not enough support for the employees. But sort of on my day-to-day work, on my one-to-one work, I really see people, you know, sort of various people with various issues, but it always kind of, one of the things that they always mention is anxiety. But what people don't realize is anxiety and even stress and even depression is a symptom of something else, of the root cause. And sort of 95% of my clients, actually, when I start kind of poking around and asking certain questions, they always go to sort of wonky foundation, as I call it. So we, you know, we really function best if we have a strong foundation, and this foundation is our self-esteem, self-confidence, mindset, and really the relationship to ourselves. So one of the most frequent terms or sentences that I hear from clients, whether it's a business client, whether it's a just sort of you know, just everyday client, is I'm not good enough, fear of failure. Obviously in businesses, imposter syndrome, so these sort of things. Anxiety is just a symptom that comes from if their foundation is kind of a bit wonky, if they don't have a good relationship to themselves, if they lack the self-confidence, self-esteem, and if they, you know, if they don't have sort of the growth mindset, that's when they start wonking. Wonking, is that even a word?
Great phrase.
Yeah.
We'll stick with that. So if there's someone watching, Laura, that is experiencing anxiety and low self-esteem, are there some little tips that you can you know, give us today that could make a difference to them today?
Yeah, sort of the easiest and the quickest ways to deal with stress and anxiety are just sort of little things that we can do on a daily basis that may not really deal with the root cause. So if someone continues to have these sort of symptoms for a long period of time, they might want to see a professional about that and really deal with the sort of core issues and sort of root causes. However, I always say there is so much that we can do for ourselves, and and the best thing that I can say is that, like I said, looking after your well-being is a long-term commitment, and it doesn't mean that you have to do something an hour a day. If you do something 5 minutes a day, it's better than doing something for an hour once a week. So things that work. Obviously, there is quite a lot of stuff that goes into why anxiety happens and what happens in your brain, and I'm not going to probably go into that at the moment. We can do another another session about that. But things like very quick and easy breathing exercises that are really that calm your mind in terms of anxiety, because obviously when you feel anxious, your mind thinks that there is a threat, and you're in a really sort of fight or flight state. So one thing that I say to my client, take a piece of paper and write just a line across it. It's like a scale. So on the one side of the scale, you write 0. In the middle is 5, and then the other side is 10. And you stick that somewhere visible. So on a sort of daily basis, you can kind of see, where am I on the scale now? Where is my sort of stress and anxiety on the scale? If it's sort of 0 to 5, it's sort of natural stress and anxiety, because we need that as well to just function on a daily basis. But if you feel like you're sort of, because we all know what 10 feels like and what 0 feels like. So if you know that you're about maybe 6 or 7, you're going to need to do something about it, because you know that you are heading towards 10, where you are just really stressed and anxious and overwhelmed. And then have in hand some useful techniques, such as breathing exercises, anything sort of relaxation based. Mindfulness is very good, or sort of meditation based. So there's so much stuff available on YouTube. You know, I have a channel as well, and people can kind of go there if they want, but really there is a lot on YouTube. It's free, it's very visual, it kind of explains what to do. So there are lots of breathing exercises, lots of very quick relaxation exercises that literally 5 minutes and you just feel a bit better. So I'd kind of go with that. There are loads of stuff that people can do, but it's better if you have up to 1 to 3 go-to techniques, so that you wouldn't overwhelm yourself, that you wouldn't add more stuff to your to-do list, because I know everyone is busy, so that you can just quickly do something that you know has worked for you, and just kind of reevaluate and work the problem then.
Yeah, because we don't want that sort of de-stressing technique to become a stress, because you have to fit it in. And absolutely. Yeah. So obviously you've got lots and lots of tools in your toolbox, haven't you? You're a coach, you're a cognitive hypnotherapist, and I know there are some people that are not really familiar with hypnotherapy, and there are lots and lots of myths around hypnotherapy. And also, some people might know what a hypnotherapist is, but what's a cognitive hypnotherapist? So what have you got to say about that?
Good question. Yes, you're right. Like, there are so many misconceptions about it. And I remember once when I was working around doctor's office, like a GP office, and they asked me, so what else do you do? And I said, I'm a cognitive hypnotherapist. And the doctor actually did this, don't look into my eyes. And, I was like, yes, there are still so many misconceptions. So what people don't realize that being in trance or being hypnotized is something that we very naturally do on a daily basis. Sort of around 80% or so of your day, you're actually hypnotized. And you're really, really good at hypnotizing yourself. So for example, one of my fellow colleagues actually gave me this example some time ago, that if you go to cinema, for example, and you buy popcorn, and you just keep eating it, and you're just watching the film, and then you're like, oh, what happened to my popcorn? You've been sort of in trance, very much watching the film. Or when you are driving and you daydreaming, and you then kind of get to your destination, and you think, oh, I can't remember my journey here. Again, you kind of hypnotized yourself. So we are on a daily basis kind of move in and out of this sort of state. So it's something that people actually very effectively do for themselves, and they are still alive. So some of my clients are like, oh, what if I don't remember what happens in a session? It has never happened. Some people are more susceptible than the others, but it's just a very sort of relaxed state, which kind of helps you to get out of your own way a bit. And so that's sort of very general of what is hypnotherapy. But cognitive hypnotherapy is just a model of working with clients in a sort of very personalized way. So I could see, for example, 4 clients a day who come to me with anxiety, but the sort of the treatments or sort of techniques that I do with them is very personal for them, and the sort of hypnotic recording that I send to them is very personalized for them as well, because their anxiety slightly different. Their background is different, where it started is different, what is the childhood is different, their personality is different. So it's not sort of everything, we can't put people in a same box. It's not one size fits all. It's very sort of personalized way. And cognitive hypnotherapy is sort of almost bundle of lots of therapy method that we can utilize with clients depending on what their sort of characteristics and what their personality type. So cognitive hypnotherapy is just very sort of personalized way of working with someone around the particular how they do their problem and where they actually want to go. So that's the difference.
Excellent. So if anyone wants to find out more about you, Laura, how would they do that?
So they can either visit my website and they can contact me. I offer free initial consultations where I kind of speak how I work, answer any of their questions, and it's sort of no obligation. They don't have to book a session, but if they feel like I can help them, then we can arrange a session. I work online as well as face to face, or they can just follow me on social media. And I offer sort of tips and tools and kind of try to help my clients to help themselves, and sharing lots of resources that they can utilize themselves, really, because there is really a lot that we can do to help ourselves.
And what would they look out for on social media? What are you down as?
Just my first name and last name, Laura Lohk. And hopefully we can kind of put some links or
I've been
names.
calling you Laura, haven't I? And it's Laura.
Yes, it's okay.
Honestly, I didn't even get that right.
That's easy mistake to make because of the spelling of the name. But yeah, in Estonia it's pronounced, so I've kind of kept it like that. Oh, and if there's a joke that if you can't pronounce my name, just call me Bob and it'll be fine. It's true.
So is there anything else that you'd like to say, Lara, before we go?
I think what I really want people to realize is that there is this power within them to actually help themselves. And you don't always need a therapist, you don't always need a counselor, whatever it is. There is a lot that we can do for ourselves. Sometimes we just need, few helpful tips and tools to kind of guide you at the right way. But I think, if people have this kind of, hope that that they can get out of this situation, or this problem can be resolved, they are more sort of motivated to climb out of that that hole that sometimes we find ourselves in. So you don't have to feel like there isn't support and help for you, because one of the posts that I did recently just says exactly that you are your rock. You might have your husband there, you have your partner, your mother, your, I don't know, friends, but at the end of the day, they can't live your life. They can't, find your dreams. They can't kind of do stuff for you. And what you might find is that you are your rock, and actually you have so much, inner resources. You just have to, sometimes somebody has to point them out to you and just give you a few helpful tips and tools to guide you on your way. And then you realize that actually I can do it myself. And that's really what I do with my clients. I don't fix stuff for them. I might sometimes help to untangle things, but I give them the resources that when they leave, that they know that they're empowered, they have this toolbox of stuff that they can help themselves for the rest of their lives, really.
Brilliant. Laura, it's been an absolute joy talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.